So, hey, man, I appreciate you, bro. Um, so let's start with high school, okay? What high school did you go to?
I went to Newburgh Free Academy in Newburgh, New York.
How was
About
how
an
was that out there?
hour north of Manhattan, the city. It
Okay,
was good. It was good. I
okay.
enjoyed it a lot. Very diverse background. A lot of people. Large school, probably about maybe 3,500, almost 4,000 kids. I
Sheesh.
went to school at that time, so it was a big school, big double A school in New York.
Y'all had pretty good competition and all that too, then, right?
Yeah. Section 9, super competitive. The Monroe Woodbury's, Middletowns,
Mm,
Pine Bushes of the world. Yeah, for sure.
that's what's up. All right, bro. So when did you decide that you wanted to go to college and play football?
Mm, I think I knew pretty early on that that's something that I wanted to do. I knew that I wanted to go to college. I knew that for sure. Probably in middle school, my family has always had a very athletic background. My uncles played professionally, um, and at the collegiate level, my parents both, were high school stars. My dad was a national runner in college, so it was kind of always around me and ingratiated that I wanted to go to school and take that next step. I didn't necessarily know what I wanted to play though. I played a little bit of everything
Okay.
growing up, so I knew that I wanted to go to college first and foremost, and then the choice of what sport kind of came a little bit later.
Now that's what's up. So when did you get the nickname Flash, bro?
Flash. Yeah, Flash came from my high school running back coach, actually.
Okay.
Um, yeah, it was just at like one game, like in Indies, we were just like warming up. He was like, "We're gonna start calling you Flash. We're gonna start calling you Flash." So, Coach Horton, shout out to Coach Horton.
That's what's up. All right, man. So after high school, you end up going Cortland State. What made you choose Cortland State?
Really, it was just the atmosphere, truthfully. I think when I got on campus and I had conversations with the guys who were there, got to see the facilities, I just felt good there. Like I didn't feel nervous, I didn't feel out of place. It felt like home. It was a
Oh,
good distance away, but still
hmm.
close enough that I'd be able to like kind of get back and forth.
Nah, I love that. While you were at Cortland, obviously you excelled, man. Did you go through any injuries, anything tough, any tough times at Cortland while being on the team there?
Yeah, for sure. It's kind of like the untold an untold side of my story, truthfully. But I really did deal with injuries, probably actually since I got there. My only truly exclusively healthy season was my senior year. So just had like soft tissue, lower body nagging, hamstring, quad, injuries. But then my sophomore year, I actually had a season-ending injury, and I broke my wrist. I had a
Oh
Galatzi
wow.
fracture on my left forearm playing Morrisville.
Oh wow,
Um,
that's crazy.
playing Morrisville my sophomore year. So I think that was
Okay.
game 6 of my sophomore campaign, and then I was out for the rest of the season. Then,
What was it like? What was it like bouncing back your junior year? What was that like?
man, I had such an edge, man, such a chip on my shoulder. I felt like there was a lot of unfinished business. My sophomore year was the first year I started. Again, we had amazing athletes in Cortland. Jake Smith was actually hurt for that entire season. So I kind of, facilitated, his role, field stretcher, dynamic player, and he was just a guy who was always in my corner since I got there. So I had such an edge because I felt there was so much that I did, but so much that I left on the table
Right.
as well. So I actually like telling a funny story because I was so angry following getting injured because, like, woe is me. Like, why is this happening? Like, everything, was just starting to align, how it was supposed to. And now, it's almost like I'm like backtracking. And I remember being in my sling and I had my arm all casted up, and Coach Mack came in on the into the meeting room one day, and he just wrote on the board in chalk EGO in big letters and was just silent for like minutes. You could hear a mouse, a pin drop. It was just so quiet in the room, and he just got up and he went to the board and he erased the E and he started banging on his chest, banging on his chest. Let the E go. Let the E go. And I like started to swell. Like it was just so profound because I feel like that pride, that
Wow.
kind of, anger and like arrogance, was getting in my way.
Hmm.
Let the E go. Go. Drop the E and go. Get out of your own way. Coach Mack has done so much for me. I think even more than he really knows. But that really was a turning point for me. Um, Kind of
Wow.
getting to uh, restoration
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
recovery.
Now that's wow. That's amazing. A couple things. Shout out Jake Smith, man. He's a good dude, and
Shout out to
um, a good dude, man. And I got to play against him too, which was crazy. So everything that you said, man, dynamic, feels, man, he was everything, bro. He really route runner, all of that, man. So for you to be able to fill those shoes, you know what I'm saying, is definitely something that I'm sure he would agree with is impressive. And then the second part, man, the ego thing. I've never heard that before, bro.
yeah,
Ever. That's awesome. That's super profound, man. I think that's something that I'm gonna preach to kids. I'm gonna tell kids that story. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad you told me that.
absolutely.
Um, so after college, we're gonna kind of get into a little bit. After college is when the pro stuff starts. For everybody knows that. When did you realize, or what was the moment where you're like, yo, I'm trying to take this to the next level?
Yeah, man, it was so crazy because I really my mindset was not on playing professionally when I was in college. Which is really different than a lot of other people. It was more so like, hey, like if the opportunity comes, sure. But my pursuit and my goals and my focus was not on playing professionally. And that's where I try to advise people now. If that is something that you actually do see, you need to start wiring yourself to be prepared for what that actually looks like. So a lot of it was trailblazing, truthfully.
Okay.
But I think that I belong moment, or like this actually can be real, is when I had an opportunity and got invited to the College Gridiron Showcase in Texas following my senior year. My parents were able to connect, with an amazing agent out in Arizona. And he was able to get me, plugged in, and I got invited to that game. I got invited to the small school showcase, primarily D2, D3, NAIA. And then they took the top 10 performers and invited them to their FCS, FBS showcase, more of the Division 1 bigger name guys. So I went and I did well at the small school showcase, and I was actually one of the 10. They actually ended up taking 14, but I was one of the 14 that they brought up to that larger showcase. So that I think was like the, all right, this might be something. That moment, yeah.
Yeah. Nah, that's awesome. Dive in on that a little bit, right? Right. Small school, obviously D3. Cortland, I don't want to say small, but as far as in the professional world, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? D3 schools are small, right?
Hmm.
Um, I feel like it's just cool, man, how your story so far as you're talking about how it's aligning. Um, Not even just like proving the doubters wrong, man. It's like there's something to be said about stepping into roles and fulfilling the obligation too,
Yeah.
right? And almost like I tell people, like walk where you walk, man. Act like you own it. You know what I'm saying? Like you own that spot, like you were supposed to be there. And so talk a little bit about that as you go past that showcase, right? Because now it's came from Cortland D3 school. I did well. Performed in this showcase. I'm one of the 14. But now it's also like, yo, I belong here too, right?
Yeah.
So talk about that next step after that showcase.
Yeah, man. There's a level of confidence, I think, that I gained from that opportunity, but also confidence that I saw other people have. And just like you said, almost like walking into those rooms and just feeling, like you belong here. Like I'm one of the, lighter guys, one of the smaller guys. Like, that doesn't matter. I'm from the D3 school. That doesn't matter. Do you believe that this is something you can do? Because no one else will believe in you unless you
Hmm.
first believe in yourself. So I have an amazing family, an amazing, close knit support system, that has always, spoken life over me, and over my dreams and the things that I wanted to do, even without really seeing the manifestation of those things actually happen, or how it's, supposed to fall in line. All right, you go D1, you start, you get drafted, everything like that. Like it was completely different, almost the opposite,
Yeah.
completely different, and still kind of finishing my race there. So it was just important to kind of have tunnel vision just to run my own race,
Hmm.
to be there and, just feel good and positive and just stay trusting in the Most High, that I'll be able to, do what I can do. And, it was an amazing experience.
Absolutely. All right, so let's dive into the pro football world. All right, so after the showcase happens, things happen. You have your agent. Um, what's next? How did any of the pro stuff even come about for you?
Man, it's so crazy, man, because even when I look back on it and I just see everything, it's like, man, like I'm just so thankful, like just so grateful and so appreciative. But so this was the COVID year, 2020. So
Okay.
I do well in the showcase, which is in January. And then my agent is sending out my film to a couple of teams, CFL and NFL teams, and I'm actually getting feedback and traction, like, who is this kid? Where's he from? What's his 40? Super fast. Um, a little slight of frame, but he plays strong. You know, I'd love to see him in person. Like, I've never heard of this kid. Like, these are, GMs and pro
Yeah.
personnel, from different teams. And I'm just like, man, like, this is kind of crazy.
Facts.
So it was almost like kind of trying to make a decision that would have been the best case scenario, again, given the time, right? So COVID, things, it's January, so not everything is officially shut down, but things are getting, tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter. So I get offered, I believe it was two CFL contracts. Like, it was kind of, a team, like, they liked me, all right, send over the paperwork, and another team that I had the physical contract in
Right.
hand.
Right.
Um, so I had contracts on the table. I did not have an official pro day lined up. A couple of my coaches were reaching out to the Syracuse's, Buffalo,
Hmm.
Fordham, and Columbia to try to get in their showcases. But it's also, a numbers thing, depending
Yep.
on the type of guys that they have coming out. So nothing, was official or really set in stone up until that point. So just listening to, my parents and my agent, we went with what we knew was on the table at that point, which was, a contract, a good size, rookie deal, good package, and the opportunity to go in camp and ball out, So I signed that CFL contract probably in early February, I want
Okay.
to say. And then the next couple weeks, everything, pro day, pro day, pro day, cancel, border, shut down, everything. So even if I wouldn't have done that or said, hey, I want to do this pro day, those things would have never even happened. So I was
Right.
able to lock in that deal. And that's kind of where it first started.
That's crazy. So that happens, right? Let's talk about like your mental state in that now, right? So you running off a high now, you know what I'm saying? I know the feeling too of like we signing a contract, man, this
Yeah.
thing's really gonna rock. And then the world literally shuts down for you. You know what I'm saying? So where were you at? Were you in Cortland? Were you home? Were you in Newburgh? Were you in Arizona? Where were you at when this was
Yeah. So I flew to Arizona to come train
happening?
the in February. And the day that I left Arizona, so I went, got to speak to my agent again, like in person, got to train with some NFL guys out here. Just get overall ready in case a combine opportunity did present itself, even though I did sign.
Right.
So the day I left Arizona, I came back to Cortland and they closed the school down. So I'm still in school. This is still senior year. I'm in classes
Wow.
and everything like that. So they shut the school down and I'm in Arizona and I live off camp. I mean, excuse me, I'm in Cortland and then I'm just staying in my house in Cortland. So the world, freezes. Everything is now online, finishing up, senior year, finishing up my senior thesis, training, getting ready to leave for Canada in May. I was going to have to miss our graduation because, everything was just like, all right, it's closed for
Hmm.
the month, closed for the rest of the semester. What does that look like? So it was so much uncertainty. But through all of that, man, like mentally, I was just like, I just got to be ready to go. So I was grateful that one of the quarterbacks actually from the team stayed in Cortland as well. And I believe we
Oh,
probably
nice.
threw trained every day, every other day. Roberto Nunez,
Okay.
probably one of the strongest, probably one of the strongest arms I've ever had the opportunity to play with. And we
Wow.
really dialed in. I was in contact with the quarterbacks up in the CFL. They were giving me routes and programs and progressions that they wanted me to work on, some high motion stuff, and we were just repping that out. We were at oh man, I forget the name of the school. A school up in Cortland. They have a turf field. Oh man,
Was it Homer?
Homer. Yes, we were
Yeah,
at
yeah,
the Homer field, just running routes and
yeah.
getting timing in. Yeah.
No, that's crazy. I remember. So it's cool for me when you're saying all this stuff, bro, because I'm flashing back to COVID, right? And that's one of the times you and I got to link in person
Yeah,
because
yeah. We linked
because
at
I
the
had the little setup at
facility.
my parents' church. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
remember congratulating you on your CFL stuff, and I was kind of asking what's going on. And you was like, "Man, I just got back from AZ. I'm
yeah,
trying to figure all this stuff out." You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like the world was shutting down, bro. Like in the blink
But
of our eyes, it was cool. So it's funny, man. Listening to that and hearing your side of it, and that in the mental state of like you still want to be prepared, you still
yeah,
want to train, but you also are like understanding, like, yo, I don't really know what's gonna happen.
I had no
Uh,
idea.
for real. So after that stuff happens, man, we'll say the world opens back up. What was next in your professional football journey?
Yeah, so the CFL season ended up getting canceled. And after we didn't have to report in May, so prepping and planning to report in May didn't actually end up happening because the Canadian borders closed. So I came out to Arizona and got to connect with Nick Edmonds. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Nick really took me in and really did so much for me, man. Like just being able to train and see just a completely different level of that professionally and what that would look like. So my exposure with being able to train with Nick and at the performance facility that he was at, I really got to see it ratchet up again, hands on. It wasn't just all right, yeah, you'll have an opportunity, D3 guy going to play. Now, no, like I'm in the room with, Johnny Dixon from Ohio State, T.
Mhm,
Higgins, Isaiah Simmons,
mhm.
Greg Dortches, on Andre Bachellia's, of the world. And like I'm really starting to see it and, build, some relationships and actually start to really work, with these guys. Um, so all of that was during COVID, 2020 moving into 2021. I ended up opting out of my CFL contract, just so I had the fluidity to speak and sign with other teams, like if I had the opportunity to. My agent was hard at work sending some different things out. It was just like the whole COVID thing and the limitations, they couldn't really bring guys in. So fast forward to
Right,
2021, um my agent brings me into the office and he gets on the phone and starts making a couple calls. And within minutes, I have 2, 3 rookie minicamp invites. Cardinals, Giants, Jets, on the phone. And it's just like, all right, here's the film. This is the guy. Like, what can we do? And it was, and it's so crazy, just like in hindsight, like it would have been great, to go back home, to New York and be there.
right,
I was blessed. I was
right.
blessed to be local and I had an opportunity. I mean, the Cardinals brought me in for that
Yeah,
rookie mini camp. And like just getting to that point, like not even anything more than that, like I was so fulfilled, because again, this was the junior in high school, 5'5", 120-pound receiver, running back, that was no stars, just a good kid, a good teammate, and just super fast,
yeah.
actually walking into an NFL building, putting on, helmet and, getting to see Larry Fitz and Kyler and, Cliff Kingsbury. And it's just like,
Mhm.
it felt just so surreal,
Yeah,
in there.
yeah.
So they bought me in like a week before. This is after the draft. I think they take Rondell Moore in the second round. Marco Wilson, I think they take a little bit later. So that was that draft, and they bring me in like a week before, so I'm like learning everything on the fly. I'm getting inserted in meetings. I'm getting these play call sheets that the width of the page, and it's just like I'm here, like
Right, right, right.
you're just here, and I was just so grateful. I had like the biggest smile on my face. Like I was so appreciative to everybody who was there. And I just soaked, every moment, every minute, just being there, seeing the lockers, just with my name and the number and that helmet,
Yeah,
like, and like,
yeah.
you know,
That's
it was,
crazy.
It was crazy, man. It was so crazy.
That's so fire. I remember the whole everything you're saying, bro, is making me smile, man. Because um, sometimes I feel like I walk journeys with people, right? Whether
Yeah,
I'm physically with them or if I met them and seeing them and just seeing how proud I am, you know what I'm saying, and thinking about it. But I remember I'll never forget, bro, when we were in Arizona and I was like, yo, Nick, this is this dude Flash, bro. This is the
yeah,
spot. You know what I'm saying? I remember going to showing y'all and walking in there with you in Elite U.
yeah,
And I remember telling Nick, and I'll never forget, Nick hit me. He was like, yo, is he serious, bro? Like, is he actually gonna like I'm like, bro, yeah, like I think he's actually like really, really gonna dive into this. You know what I'm saying? And I remember I would smile all the time, bro, when I would see the posts of you just working hard there and like him being hyped, you know what I'm saying, to him and then seeing you around, like you said, professionals, right?
yeah,
And you was dog and you was working, man, and it was so cool to me, you know what I'm saying? Because I think what people don't get is there's this element of it's cool when somebody works hard and they get what they want, right?
yeah,
I was telling these kids that I train out there on a podcast with me, and I said, but what people don't understand is like that's the 1% actually like it works out.
yeah,
It normally doesn't, bro. Like I always tell people all the time, like if there was one thing growing up, I wish somebody had told me it was no matter how hard you work, it might not work out.
mm,
Right? That doesn't mean that you shouldn't work hard or continue to strive for your goals and what you want to do.
yeah,
But I do kind of wish that because I grew up like on some like yo, it's gonna work out. If I work hard, I'm gonna get whatever it is I
yeah.
want.
No
Like
matter
not
what.
even sports, right? Um, and so for me, it was cool, bro, seeing you walk it. Like I'm talking like right, we're talking COVID. Seeing you in my parents' church, we working out up there. Seeing you, you know what I'm saying, at Elite U, and watching you and like that whole progress, and then boom, bro, somebody sent me a picture on Instagram. They're like, yo, it's Flash. And so I see you, know what I'm saying, in the Arizona, like the Cardinals jersey, and I'm like, bro, really did it. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, mini camp or not, you was in the doors, bro. And there is a level of fulfillment that you should have. You know what I'm saying? You should be proud. You should be like no one can take that moment away from you, man. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And so for me it's cool listening to the stories because like I feel like I was there but I wasn't. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Throughout your journey. And it was really that's really awesome to see that. So is there any advice, bro, that you would give um either kids in the draft, kids that are in college, or high school kids that are like that are striving right to do essentially what you did.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I'll start with the high school kids first. You gotta get out of your own way early. You know, like you don't know everything, and everything in life is about learning and about growing and about getting better. There's somebody who definitely always does know more. So just be a sponge. You know, listen, work hard, keep your grades up, keep your family close. Like those people who show up for you at every game, those people who wash your jersey and your clothes, the people who have a meal for you like after practice, after they just worked a long day and had to deal with all those things. Like keep those people close, man. Um, they'll be there for you forever. For the college guys, you know, if this is something that you really want, again, lock in on it. You know, what does it actually look like to be a pro? Because you should not be practicing to be a good college player. You should be
Mm,
practicing to be a professional. So how do professionals eat? How do professionals take care of their body? How do professionals sleep? You know, what do they listen to? You know, what do they do in their downtime? Trying to understand that element of it because it is a job and it is a business, and you are um, essentially, you know, an employee. You know, like you're working, you know, for yourself. You are your business. You know, how you portray yourself on social media and in the public and even behind closed doors can make or break opportunities for you, whether you think so or not. um, you know, so that's what I would say, you know, to college guys. If it really is something that you want to do, focus on it. Research how to be a pro, what does that look like, and try to, you know, get around a pro. You know, proximity is super important. And then for those guys in the draft, man, I remember being there. I remember listening to the draft, and I remember the day before the draft. Just a little recap, but the day before the draft, after I had signed, the Colts sent me a text message. The Indianapolis Colts sent me a text message the night before the draft to fill out, you know, like some like questionnaire and like information, like was I available and like all this other stuff. And I remember my heart just thinking, like I remember I'm like,
Yeah.
what? Like, and all I have to do is tell those guys who are ready to take that step is just the journey is emotional. The journey is mental. The physical part of it, you've done enough to get in the door or to get where you are right now. But this next part is going to test a different part of you that hasn't really had to take that test before. Um, Seeing people who that you probably, from a comparison standpoint, can compete with or be better than, and them get those opportunities. How do you deal with that? Any period of not hearing anything and a period of uncertainty, like how do you stay locked into your ultimate goal? Because again, that opportunity can come in an instant. And are you going to be prepared? Are you going to be ready? Is it something that you can actually handle? Is it something
Right.
that you can actually deal with? And then when that opportunity does come, can you keep your head straight, right? If
Hmm.
you were
Hmm.
able to sign, a large size contract and maybe start getting some money or a little bit of fame, popularity, like, do you change?
Mm.
Are you mentally strong enough to, be the person that you were before any of those things came? And how do you handle that? So it's a holistic approach, I have conversations, with all of those, group of people, the guys in college, the guys
Hmm.
come, the kids still in high school. And, those are very much the words that I like to share with them.
Nah, I love that, man. That's crazy. I remember that brings me back. I remember the night before the draft when I was at Morrisville my senior year, and I got a call from I was signed with Brad Berkowitz. He was a pretty big agent back then, and he gave me a call. He goes, "Hey man, listen, the Jets just called me. They're probably going to offer you like the minicamp invite. He's like, probably won't get drafted, but just keep your phone next to you, right? Because you're gonna get that call, bro." I ended up not getting the call, right?
Mm,
But my heart dropped because I was so hyped the whole time, right? I'm like, man, just fast forward the draft. I know that's not happening, but I really might get this minicamp invite, right? And so I'm watching my friends, bro, get these minicamp invites, and my heart's starting to sink now because, like you said, bro, it's like not even just the ego. Now you start comparing, like,
yeah,
damn, am I not good enough? I thought I was. You know what I'm saying? Like you did all this work, you did all that, and then kind of like you said, you get around the right. I was around the right people. Like I said, at the time, I had a good agent too. I've always had good agents, so I can't speak bad on that. But he was like, "Listen, man, it's all right. It'll work out. Everything happens for a reason, right?" So fast forward like year and a half, I'm doing private workouts with the Packers, right? And then I was like, "Man, I'm gonna take this arena route, right?" Because it was
yeah,
just like it worked out. Bro, I get hurt after my first year with the Storm. I hurt my ankle after like 8 games. I was going crazy up there and get hurt. Um, I end up coming back home, and I'm like, I got to train for next year, right? Because the way that arena works, you basically just have like the summer to train for real,
yeah,
and you go back. And so I end up getting healthy. Long story short, bro, no joke. Long story short, it's the end of the summer, about a year, yeah, like about a year, 2 years ago, year and a half ago, end of the summer, and I get a call from the Detroit Lions, bro. And so I'm like you said, there. I never got to walk through the doors. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
But there was this element of fulfillment. Like, man, I
right,
did everything that I could have done with the opportunities that I was given.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So I think all the words that you said, man, are great, and I can't wait for all my listeners and viewers to see that because I have a bunch, bro. Like I got the high school, I got the ones in college, and I got the ones literally that are probably going to get drafted. If not, they're going to definitely probably get some minicamp interest at least, right? Um, whether it falls through or not, that's just kind of how things go. But I think that they're definitely gonna get something from this, brother. Any closing remarks from you, bro? Man, I got a lot. I learned a lot from you, man. I got a lot from this conversation.
man. No, I always appreciate it, man. Again, you've been a pillar and you've been there for sure. You're a staple in the community, and it's just been a pleasure to get to know you and even again see your journey. And like you said, you sometimes vicariously, walk those extensions and understand, that you're really not alone in it. That there are a lot of other people, who are working and fighting and getting to their dream. And again, everything really does happen for a reason. Where you get positioned, who you're supposed to influence, who you're supposed to help. I stopped taking it personal, right? That it was like things weren't happening. And it was because of me, or it was like happening like in these ways, So it's just been a pleasure to again see your journey, to see what you've done, with the clocked in crew, everything that you've done for everybody, in the Cortland area, for real, and at large, the people who've come and gone, and I'm just so super excited and blessed as well. Shout out to the Red Dragons for winning the Natty, man. That
Bro,
that
what?
felt good as well.
That
Shout
was
out to the guys
crazy.
this year in the draft, Cole and
Bro, I'm about to get him up here too. Yep,
Cole.
I'm gonna get him up here. So when I drop, I'm gonna drop years. I'm gonna drop years as a like I'm gonna take a clip of it,
Yeah,
like that part that I was telling you about. So I'll take just like that segment of the NFL stuff and I'll put that in that one.
for sure.
But I'm gonna drop this one as like a full episode though, because this one was fire, man. I didn't expect it to be like that, but I got too many. There's too many gems, bro, for me to keep this one in the vault. So I'm gonna take that little NFL part and I'm gonna put it in that segment I was telling you about. But
Perfect.
I'm gonna get Cole on tomorrow. I'm gonna get Cole on
Yeah.
tomorrow. I'm gonna get Jake Cerez on this week too.
Oh yeah,
Um,
man. Couple
I got a
legends,
couple guys, man. I got a couple, but
legends.
yeah, I got three. I get JJ too, so I have three Red Dragons on here, man. And then
Yeah,
I just had Zach, obviously, but yeah, shout out to them for that natty, man.
man, man. Put on for the city, man. For the town.
Crazy, crazy. But hey, bro, listen, I really appreciate you, man. Thank you for giving me some time,
Yes,
and more importantly, thank you for the words of encouragement and wisdom, man. You far beyond your years, brother. So whatever you're doing, keep going, man, and God bless, bro. Stay safe, okay?
thanks, brother. I appreciate you always.
No doubt, brother. Be good.